Good morning, afternoon, and good evening to the global audience in front of the screen. I'm very glad and honored to accept this opportunity to share some information on the market we work together with Thermo Fisher Scientific in China. As you know, the African swine fever outbreak started in August 2018 here and became an epidemic in China. So today I will provide some data in my presentation, but may only based on the public part, comes from the government. Thanks for your understanding. This is the outline of today's sharing. So let's see some public data related to the ASF in China. So this data comes from the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs of People's Republic of China. We short it as MARA. And from this chart, you can see there are 179 official reported cases since the very beginning. And up to now, I mean, as they showed it in the figure, is to July the 24th, 2020, and Liaoning province. The first faucet we know that ASF found in China have accumulated the most outbreaks. And you can see this, it is the only one province with over 20 cases. And ASF have devastated Chinese swine industry since August 2018. And you can see from this chart that both swine and sour stocks are declining from the second half of 2018, then touched the bottom 1 year later with over 30% loss in both figures. It is likely that there will be sufficient markets incentive and political stimulus to push forward with recovery efforts. As a result, the 2020 ending swine inventory is expected to increase, maybe reach 80% level before the outbreak. And actually, you can read from the numbers when it comes to the year 2020, there is steady rebound month by month on both swine and the sow stocks. And this is the second part we call the powerful tool for ASF diagnosis. Due to the severe impact that ASF has imposed on the swine industry, we need a real effective and practical solution to identify the virus in the front line and to control the spreading. This picture shows the recommendation list back to June 2019, released by the Chinese authority, China Animal Disease Control Center. They have arranged the assessment on around 100 products from the market, evaluating their sensitivity, specificity, and the robustness, and etc. And then made this recommendation based on the top performance during the test. And there are 34 products in total, showed in this list with only one imported product, that is ASFV, Vetmax ASFV detection kits from Thermo Fisher Scientific. And the best balance between high sensitivity and high specificity. This summary comes from our customers. It's just like the two sides of the seesaw, so we need to balance these two characters. And there have been over 1 million tests been put onto the Chinese market to carry out the precise removal of the infect and surrounding peaks. So we use a metaphor as a tooth extraction. And over half of the top 10 group in China have adopted Vetmax ASFV detection kits to fight against the virus. And we have classified the usage for the Vetmax ASFV detection kits. And scenario 1, the customer cannot afford any risk to call out a non-infected pig or any real infected one in the herd. So comparing to their profit that our customers can make from each pig, here around 2,000 RMB per pheasant or 20,000 RMB per sow. So the cost at only 100 RMB per test will be a margin. And scenario 2, the cost-oriented customers will choose a cheaper solution first. So they prefer the domestic brand on the list of the recommendation. However, when they encounter some problems during the detection, they will choose Vetmax ASFV detection kits to make the secondary confirmation, and will use our results as the confirmative one and then report it to the pig production unit. And it comes to the last part, the application of ASFV detection kits with our customers. But first, let's see a report on the characterization of the replication and the virulence of ASFV circulating strain in China. It is the report. And you can see from this study, the researchers show the instructional data on the ASFV detection by different sampling methods. You can see from the two figures highlighted in the red boxes, and even though with a 10 times lower copy number when using oral swabs on the viral genomic DNA detection, it can make 3 days earlier than the other two sampling methods. Since the contact peak, you can see from the left box, the contact peak here simulates the natural state of the pigs. This research illustrated an effective sampling method which can be applied to the daily test on each farm to make an early diagnosis and control the losses. So there have been some changes happen here, from the blood collection to some non-invasive sampling like the rectal swab, the nasopharyngeal swabs, and tear spot swabs, oral swabs, etc. So usually the swabs collected from the same pig will be gathered into one sample, which is tested in pool of 3 or 4 with our Vetmax ASFV detection kits. And this is the environmental sample collection for the risk for surveillance, and which is another important usage scenarios for our Vetmax ASFV detection kits. Samples comes from the railing, the floor, and the feces within one pen will be pooled and then applied to the qPCR test. With the spread of the epidemic over China, the qPCR method has been accepted as the most effective way to detect the ASFV. So the tests carried out in the veterinary laboratories have also made a change from the conventional immunoassays to the molecular diagnosis, under which Thermo Fisher Scientific has always occupied a leading position in the world. And in the end, let's get to the conclusion of today's sharing. Firstly, the industry here has survived the disaster and surely will get better day by day. And secondly, the changes happened in terms of animal disease diagnosis are inevitable. And the last, I believe, the more strategic cooperation between my company, CAHG, and the Thermo Fisher Scientific is expected. And thanks for your attention. It's my today's presentation. Thank you.